In 859 AD, in a city in Morocco, a woman inherited more wealth than most people in her country would see in 10 lifetimes. She was young, she was educated, she had no husband telling her what to do with it, and she had every option in the world available to her. She chose the one that required her to suffer. She didn't build a palace. She didn't build a monument to herself. She built a place where strangers could come and learn, completely free. And she made one private rule while it was being built. She would not eat a full meal, she would not sleep comfortably, and she would not stop praying until the last stone was in place. The building she completed that day is still standing. It has never closed, not once, in 1,166 years. But the building isn't even the most interesting part of her story. Fatima bint Mohammed al-Fihri was born in Kairouan, a city in what is now Tunisia, around 800 AD. Her father Mohammed was a successful merchant. When he decided to relocate his family to Fez, Morocco, he brought his wealth and his values with him. Fatima and her sister Mariam grew up educated, which itself was far from typical at the time. They studied Islamic jurisprudence, hadith, grammar, and rhetoric. Their father made sure of it. And then, at some point in the 840s, Mohammed al-Fihri died. He left everything to both daughters equally, no sons, no intermediaries, just two women, the full inheritance of a prosperous merchant, and complete freedom over what to do with it. In 9th century Morocco, this was genuinely extraordinary. She could have consolidated that wealth. She could have bought property, established social standing, and lived by any comfortable standard available to her. Most people with what she had would have done exactly that. Instead, she looked at the city she had chosen to live in and identified the one thing it was missing: a real place to learn, not a school for children, a full institution where scholars could arrive, study at the highest level, receive formal credentials, and carry that knowledge outward into the world. She decided to build it with her own money, every dirham of it. But what most versions of this story leave out entirely is what Fatima decided to do to herself while it was being built. Construction on Al-Qarawiyyin began in 859 AD. According to later Islamic historical accounts, from the first day the foundation was laid, Fatima made a private commitment. She would perform istikhara, the prayer of seeking guidance, every single morning before the workers arrived, and she would fast throughout the construction period. Not symbolically, actually fast. She didn't see this building as a project. She saw it as an act of worship. And acts of worship require intention, purity, and sacrifice. Construction in 9th century Morocco was not fast. Stone was cut on site. The building rose slowly, section by section. And throughout that entire period, according to tradition, Fatima fasted. She prayed on the land before the walls were complete. She was not a patron who sent money and waited for reports. She was there. Think about what that actually means. She was among the most prominent women in Fez. She could have had any food she wanted. She denied herself that, deliberately, as a form of devotion. The building was her prayer. And on the day Al-Qarawiyyin was finally completed, tradition holds that Fatima performed 2 units of prayer inside it, and then she ate, the first proper meal she had allowed herself in months, inside the thing she had built. But while Fatima was building Al-Qarawiyyin on the same street in the same year, with the other half of the same inheritance, her sister was doing something equally extraordinary. And almost nobody talks about her. Maryam al-Fihri built the Andalusian mosque. Two sisters, one father's fortune, divided equally between them, and both of them, independently, simultaneously, spent every dirham on their community. Not a single coin went toward personal property. Not a single coin went toward status. The Andalusian mosque still stands today. So does Al-Qarawiyyin. The inheritance Mohammed al-Fihri left his daughters is still serving its purpose in two buildings more than 11 centuries after his death. Now, let's be precise about what Al-Qarawiyyin actually was. Al-Qarawiyyin is widely recognized as the oldest continuously operating institution of higher learning in the world. What historians debate is whether the 9th century institution fits the modern definition of a university. The Guinness World Records and UNESCO both recognize it. But the important point isn't the label. The important point is the comparison. The University of Bologna, which Europe calls its oldest university, was founded in 1088. That is 229 years after Fatima finished her building. Oxford University, 1096. 237 years after Fatima. The Sorbonne in Paris, 1150. 291 years after Fatima. Harvard University, 1636. 777 years after Fatima. Every institution that Western history credits as foundational to modern higher education came after a woman in Morocco had already been doing it for generations. Al-Qarawiyyin didn't inspire them. It simply predated them all, quietly, continuously, without interruption. And because Al-Qarawiyyin existed, certain things happened that otherwise might not have happened at all. The scholars who studied inside her walls didn't stay inside her walls. Ibn Battuta, the man who traveled 75,000 miles across the medieval world, visiting 44 countries across nearly 3 decades, received his formal credential from Al-Qarawiyyin. That license gave his records the scholarly authority they needed to be taken seriously. Without the institution Fatima built, the most detailed account of the medieval world might have been dismissed entirely. Gerbert of Aurillac, who later became Pope Sylvester II, studied in Andalusia and had direct access to Islamic scholarship flowing through the same intellectual network Al-Qarawiyyin was part of. He brought Arabic numerals back to Europe. The numbers you use every day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, entered European mathematics, partly through the same channel Fatima al-Fihri helped build. She didn't just educate scholars inside her walls. She helped build the road through which knowledge traveled from the Islamic world into what came after it. But here is the detail that makes her story genuinely different from every other great builder in history. She never named the university after herself. There is no Fihri Institute, no Fatima Hall, no monument bearing her name anywhere on the building she constructed, fasted through, and prayed into existence. She gave it to the city. She didn't build it for legacy. She built it because she believed that knowledge was a form of worship, and that the best thing a person could do with what they had been given was to make it available to everyone who had been given less. The painful irony is that this very fact, that she never sought recognition, is exactly why most people alive today have never heard her name. She got precisely what she wanted, and history almost erased her for it. Fatima al-Fihri inherited a fortune in 840s Morocco. She spent every dirham of it on a free institution of learning. According to tradition, she fasted throughout its entire construction. She named nothing after herself, and she created what many historians recognize as the oldest continuously operating institution of higher learning in the world. It has never closed. In 1,166 years, the man who received his credential from her institution, the man who then traveled 75,000 miles across the medieval world and documented civilizations that would otherwise have been lost, is someone this channel has already introduced. His name was Ibn Battuta, and the story of what he did with what Fatima's institution gave him is the next documentary. Follow Midnight Ummah. The next part drops this week.